In this video, I'm going to be talking about Alex Pereira versus Tom Aspinall, and if this is the UFC's next super fight. So Alex Pereira very recently just destroyed Magomed Ankalaev in their rematch within 80 seconds. And obviously it was a very dominant performance. It was one of the best performances I think I've ever seen in the UFC, to be honest. And Alex Pereira has said that he wants to go up to heavyweight for a fight there. Now obviously if he does do that, then he has the opportunity to become the first UFC fighter to hold the belt in 3 different weight divisions, which obviously will be a first in history. No one's ever done that. A lot of people have talked about it, but no one's actually done it. And if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Alex Pereira, right? And who is the heavyweight champion at the moment? Tom Aspinall, and he will be fighting Cyril Gane in just 2 weeks' time. Now obviously if you're going to want to go up to heavyweight, I think that you should be fighting the champion. That will be the ultimate super fight, and it will also give Alex Pereira the opportunity to become a champion in 3 weight divisions throughout his career, which, like I've said before, he would be one of the, if not the first person to do it in the UFC. And after his fight with Magomed Ankalaev, Alex Pereira decided to call out Jon Jones for a fight at the White House, which will be taking place in 2026. Now I understand why Alex Pereira wants to fight Jon Jones. Of course I do. Jon Jones is considered the greatest of all time. If you look back on my channel, you'll see a video where I debunk that, and basically, in my opinion, Jon Jones is not the greatest of all time. Like I said, perfectly understandable for him to call out Jon Jones, but he's not a heavyweight champion. He never really was the true heavyweight champion. They're both the same age, and they're both coming towards the end of their career. Well, Jon Jones has definitely come towards the end of his career, to be honest. I mean, he even retired. Whether or not he retired because he felt he needed to, or because he retired because he didn't want to face Tom Aspinall. There have been rumours online that Alex Pereira and Jon Jones is a verbally agreed deal for the White House card in 2026. However, Dana White has come out many times and denied this. He even said in an interview that he won't even be sorting the fights out. He won't be trying to make fights until February 2026. So immediately that's been debunked. And to be honest, Jon Jones, in my opinion, should not be given the opportunity to fight anyone at the White House. I understand that he recently lost his brother, and obviously my deepest condolences to him for that. I can't imagine how it would feel to lose your brother, especially at a young age. I think he was 30 something, 38 I think. So yeah, obviously my deepest condolences for that. Don't wish any ill will on Jon Jones whatsoever, but I don't think that Jon Jones should be given the opportunity to fight at the White House because of what he's done the last year or two. Holding up the heavyweight division, making Dana White and making the UFC look like a right mug. Like just completely mugging them all off. Promising them that he'll take the fight with Tom Aspinall and delaying it, then eventually retiring. Just wasted a whole year of not only Tom Aspinall's prime years of his career, but also wasting the UFC fans' time and wasting Dana White's time, making false promises and then running away into the sunset last moment. So regardless of whether or not Jon Jones was a heavyweight champion or considered the greatest of all time, yes, he's American, but I think we need to understand what he's done the last few years and how if he was to get a opportunity to fight at the White House in 2026, that this could really ruffle some feathers. I mean, does he deserve it? Not really. If you're going to mess about the UFC, if you're going to mess around Dana White, you should not then be given the opportunity to fight at one of the biggest UFC cards that has ever existed. Obviously, from Alex Pereira's point of view, I can understand why he'd want the fight with Jon Jones. From Dana White's perspective, he's even said that the odds are 1,000,000,000 to 1 of Jon Jones fighting at the White House, and that's completely understandable in my opinion. I don't think he deserves to fight at the White House. You know, he had an opportunity to fight at the White House. If Jon Jones had actually pulled through and said yes and started training and really went forward with fighting Tom Aspinall for the heavyweight belt, true heavyweight belt, that could have been the main card for the White House. Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones. Tom Aspinall, a Brit, versus an American, Jon Jones, which would literally be perfect for the 250th anniversary of the United States. Now, it'd be perfect. I mean, from what I understand, Independence Day is about celebrating independence from British Empire. That's from what I understand. I'm not 100% clued up on the whole history of America, obviously, but that would have been the perfect fight to make there. perfect. But Jon Jones fumbled it. He fucked it up. Not only for himself, but for Dana White, for everyone. He fucked it all up because he didn't want a real test. Yes, he's had a great career. Yes, he's beaten lots of champions. I've gone into this in one of my past videos where Jon Jones is not the GOAT in my opinion. He fought a lot of blown up middleweights. He popped the steroids many times, and pretty much every single opponent that he demolished, he had a severe reach advantage or height advantage. And then when he went up against real competition, someone who was his actual size, he struggled. I mean, he clearly lost that fight against Reyes, and he was the same height, same reach pretty much. Alexander Gustafsson, same height, struggled with him. Anthony Johnson, same height-ish, struggled with him. Every single opponent that he's ever fought that he was equal to in terms of size, he struggled with. So then that really calls into question his GOAT status. Daniel Cormier has said that Jones does deserve the fight at the White House, and in his opinion, Alex Pereira beating Jon Jones would make him the GOAT. I'm going to disagree. I think if Jon Jones was in his prime and Alex Pereira fought him in his prime, then yes, of course that would make him the GOAT. You know, he's beaten the so-called GOAT. But Jon Jones is not in his prime. Yes, Alex Pereira and Jon Jones are the same age, but Alex Pereira, as far as we know, is not on steroids. And Jon Jones was on steroids, and that significantly ages you physically. And then you obviously got to take into account that Jon Jones has retired as well, and in his last fight against Stipe Miocic, he looked slow as shit. And so did Stipe. If Alex Pereira went up to heavyweight and he fought Stipe at the age he is and how slow he is and how worn down he is over the years, like, would we consider Alex Pereira the GOAT because he beat the heavyweight GOAT? No. Of course we wouldn't, because it's not fair. He's not in his prime, so that's not a good comparison. That's not a good way to determine who is the GOAT here. And that leads me on to the real fight. Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira. And obviously if Pereira wins, he'll be the first UFC fighter to actually win a belt in 3 different weight divisions. And if he is able to pull that off, that would be insane history. You've got to obviously think about the fact as well, as if Alex Pereira and Jon Jones did fight, and Alex Pereira lost, regardless of how he lost and how quickly he lost, it would negatively affect his legacy. Because Jon Jones is already retired, and he was never a real heavyweight. He wasn't the real heavyweight champion. He never really was. He was a light heavyweight champion. Yes, Alex Pereira is as well. Him beating Jon Jones, or Jon Jones beating him at heavyweight, does nothing for each other's legacies. It actually diminishes Alex Pereira's legacy. Because we all know what Jon Jones would do. This is the reason why Jon Jones is so happy and so excited and optimistic about fighting Alex Pereira as opposed to Tom Aspinall, because there's a clear path to victory there. Jon Jones would just kick him, take him down, and then submit him fairly quickly. And Tom Aspinall in a few interviews has said that he would pretty much do the same if he fought Alex Pereira. He would rugby tackle him and just submit him. And even though Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall would still use the same fight tactic, it would be so much worse if Jon Jones, one, got the opportunity to actually do this to Alex Pereira, but if he did do it, he's retired. So a retired fighter who's out of his prime submits Alex Pereira in the first round or whatever it is. That would be catastrophic for the UFC. The UFC already has enough issues with, superstars at the moment. To then have Jon Jones, who's out of his prime, retired, and blatantly duck Tom Aspinall, beat Alex Pereira in the first round, that would be so bad for the UFC. Whatever Alex Pereira does after that, you just think, oh well, yeah, Jon Jones, an out of prime Jon Jones just took you down and submitted you. That diminishes Alex Pereira's legacy. And if Tom Aspinall did the same thing, if he went in, rugby tackled him and submitted him in the first round, it wouldn't affect Alex Pereira's legacy as much as it would be if Jon Jones did it. Because in my opinion, he is the greatest heavyweight at this moment in time. I mean, he is the champion. He's got the shortest average fight time in the UFC. He is in his prime. And if Tom Aspinall did that to Alex Pereira, it wouldn't be nearly as bad as if Jon Jones did it to Alex Pereira. Tom Aspinall is the top heavyweight. There's no shame in losing like that to a top heavyweight if you're not a heavyweight. But if you lose to a retired light heavyweight, really, he's never really a heavyweight champion, then that really diminishes his legacy. And Tom Aspinall is a real heavyweight. He couldn't get down to light heavyweight unless he cut an arm off. He is lean. I think from what I remember, he's like 10% body fat or something at 260 pounds. That's a true heavyweight. So yeah, in my opinion, I believe that Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira is the next UFC super fight, and we need to see this happen. We can't let Jon Jones get that opportunity opportunity. You can't let someone who messes the UFC around, messes Tom Aspinall's career around, all of a sudden be given the opportunity to fight at the biggest UFC event in history. That wouldn't be fair. If anyone deserves it, it's Tom Aspinall, sitting around waiting for about a year or two. And if you give that opportunity to the guy who was dodging the champion, then what the fuck does that say? Then that just says, oh, you're more worried about making Jon Jones look good. Do you know what I mean? That's just favouritism. Give it to Tom Aspinall. Alex Pereira versus Tom Aspinall is the next fight to make. Let me know in the comments section down below if you agree with my take. If you disagree with my take, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notifications on so you get notified every single time I post a new video. And I will see you guys in the next one.